Welcome back. Now, a 76-year-old retired teacher has been detained for allegedly sexually assaulting a student at a prestigious boys' school in Cape Town almost 40 years ago. Following his recent arrest, the teacher was facing extradition to the UK, where he is suspected of identical offences and is scheduled to appear in court again on the 1st of February. Now, to discuss this further, I am joined by Western Cape Education Department spokesperson Bronagh Hammond. She joins us now live virtually. Bronagh, thank you very much for your time here on ENCA. Now, of course, this specific school, the Western Province Preparatory School, had said that it would announced last year that it would actually have an intense investigation into its 108 years of existence and some of the sexual offence cases that, had been reported to them or that might not have been reported to them. Have they come to you with any report yet?
Well, as I mentioned to your producer, this is an independent school and therefore it's not in the jurisdiction of the Western Cape Education Department. So we do not have an update in that report, but we are certainly aware of this person in question as well as another person that has been involved in allegations that are also pertaining to an extradition case with the UK government. And we have been working with with the BBC, Carte Blanche, other media outlets, in terms of trying to assist in confirming their employment, first of all, in our schools during certain years, as well as the fact that they haven't had yet, we do not have any past discrepancies or red flags against these said educators when they were working in our schools. However, as a result of it coming to light in the media, there have been people that have been coming out and confirming the allegations, which is of great concern.
And this, of course, I imagine will be quite difficult because we're talking years ago, there were different people at the helm at the education department then and even at the school itself. But your role as the education department today, how are you expected to assist in this particular case?
Well, what we did do is that after it was aired on South African television about these two gentlemen, we actually we went back and saw where their past employment was at in terms of Western Cape Education Department schools, and then contacted those schools. Our head of department actually wrote personally to the principals of each of those schools and made them aware of the actual the allegations, firstly, and then said if any of their past pupils come forward to the schools or they're aware of any past pupils, that they must please contact SAPS in terms of any allegations or charges that they would like to lay against them. At the end of the day, these are very concerning allegations. It's frightening to hear some of the testimony and some of the BBC shows, and if justice must be served, then it must be served, but it does depend on people coming forward.
For lack of a better word, what is the footprint? You're saying that you looked as the education department where these alleged perpetrators had worked before, the schools that they had worked at, etc. Is it many schools where they worked during the time that they were teachers?
Well, between the two, we contacted 5 of our schools, but we are aware that they did work in some schools, independent schools in the Western Cape, and we can only use the information that we've got at our disposal. Whether they have worked in independent schools in terms of school governing posts, we don't have the records of that. We also only have the personal records dating back to 1992, so any previous employment has been difficult to track. But we are aware that they were both employed also in the UK schools previously to that time. The problem is that in one of the particular schools, in terms of the gentleman that you're referring to specifically in this show, that school has since closed down and reopened elsewhere. And so it's very hard to contact those learners. But we have certainly contacted one school where we know that they've got a strong alumni and that they could get the message out, and they certainly did. They got the message from our head of departments and then actually, in fact, wrote to their alumni, also alerting them to this fact.
It reminds me of a Bob Hewitt type of case. But, when you look at the fact that back in 2021, a Western Cape judge actually denied the extradition, the UK's application for the extradition of this particular teacher. Are you getting any communication as you speak to the BBC, etc., of the government there trying to appeal the 2021 ruling against this man, especially with these new developments? Do you know anything about that?
I can't speak on behalf of the government, but I do know there's strong support for that extradition to go through. And whether or not, the technicalities regarding whether or not the charges and the arrests, subsequent arrests, the recent arrest of one of these past educators would assist with that extradition. I'm not the technical expert to advise or legal expert to advise on that. However, we certainly want justice to be done one way or another. And if there are victims in South Africa, then justice should be served. But obviously, these are allegations at this stage. And I know that in the one case, yes, certainly someone has come forward and that has led to his arrest. And in the second case, in terms of one of the BBC shows that was aired recently, they indicated that one of the alleged past victims has indicated that they will come forward to SAPS as well. But since that, we have sent that to that particular school and asked them to send it to the alumni as well, so that any other victims can come forward if it is in fact true.
Bronagh Hammond, thank you very much for your time here on ENCA. Bronagh is the spokesperson of the Western Cape's Education Department.